could you say something for me?
Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, I had to sit there for like 14 hours and you can't speak to anyone and everything is off and you just feel like you feel so alone and you feel so cold emotionally, meaning like not that you are cold, but you feel that you're kind of freezing, you know what I mean? Meaning like you want some warmth, you miss your family, you miss your friends, you're a bit, it's not like you're scared. I don't think anyone is scared in Ukraine. I feel like people are concerned.
So you're doing your activism. At what point did you say, okay, I got to get back. I got to see my family?
I remember your question, sorry. Sometimes I forget
That's okay.
a little bit.
That's all right.
It's hard. Yeah, I wanted to go back in summer, but then I decided that I would rather use the money to help my friends, because I have lots of friends who are fighting, and a lot of my friends died already. And when you are thinking, okay, should I be selfish and do what I want, go, or should I use this couple of thousands of dollars to buy somebody something or like really help? And then I decided that I would stay. It was painful because I really wanted to go. But then before November, I took a vacation because I couldn't stay anymore. I really wanted to see my family. I really wanted to see my friends. And I wanted to have this experience on my own. So kind of like see what it is, how it is. Because I didn't want to tell my grandkids or kids, oh, I know about the war from the media or from the news. I wanted to experience it on my own. And unfortunately, I couldn't see most of my friends because the fighting is very intense in Ukraine right now. So their commanders didn't let them go back for some weekend. But at least I spent the quality time with my family, and that was amazing. So yeah, I just really missed my home. That's why I went.
Yeah. So a lot of people would say you were extremely brave to go to a war zone, to leave the safety of Canada and make this big trip and do it on your own. How do you feel about that sort of statement?
It's kind of weird, to be honest, when people are saying to me, oh, you're so brave or so strong. I don't really feel that I'm super brave or I'm super strong. Like, it just, I think I could probably do more. I definitely could do more. But sometimes, like, I might not feel well or other things because we're all human, right? Yeah. It was something that was calling my heart, right? So it just, when you really want to do something, it's not really brave to do it, right? Because you just do it because you want it to do. That's it. It's weird when somebody is saying like, oh, how you're not scared? Because for me, it's more like, I don't understand how people can be so scared of certain things that they say, how can I be scared of them? Because maybe I just have different views on the world or whatever. For example, like when somebody is saying, oh, you might die, like you're going to war, it's so dangerous. I don't know, for me, I'm not that really scared of dying. I'm more scared of living in vain or not fighting for what I believe in or not doing what I really want. That is really scary. Just sitting here and not doing anything, that's like, I want to ask them, how can you not be scared to not do anything, to not go? So and also I really prepared well for my trip.
Okay, we'll start there. again. I mean, you've told me a lot, and I appreciate that. And if you're if stuff is feeling too much, you let me know, and we'll just.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, okay, all right. From my perspective, I was listening to you and thinking, you probably had to go because you'd be scared not to go. You'd be scared that you wouldn't see your parents and your friends again, because it's that kind of situation.
That also, and then given the diaspora in Canada, I knew that there will be something, definitely some program or some help from Canada to Ukraine, because there are approximately like 2 million of people, Ukrainian people living in Canada currently, out of 38 million of people in Canada. And so we started to provide informational help on how to apply for this specific program for Ukrainians, and how to settle, how to find a job, how to figure out how to get the documents, get your kids to the school, all this kind of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff to do, long distance.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's really a lot. Just like do what you can with what you have where you are, right? So, and then when I saw that something like media doesn't cover really stuff on Ukraine in Canada anymore, and my friends, they could do everything in this volunteering on their own, so they didn't need me anymore. I'm still helping them, but they can do everything on their own. So I started doing more activism, like creating these rallies, demonstrations, and that's how I met some wonderful people who really, really care a lot. And my friends and I, we created a non-profit organization, Ukrainian Resistance Canada. It's a now non-profit organization, and we are trying to find different ways how to help Ukraine from Canada. Like, for example, I know a lot of volunteers and other non-profit organizations who send humanitarian and other aid to Ukraine, and different fundraisers, or just spreading information, fighting, against propaganda. So creating rallies, demonstrations, we are doing all of that stuff, and also trying to help the community to unite and support each other, because these demonstrations, they're not only to bring Canadian and other people attention, spread awareness, but it's also it gives you it's very important for people to do that for themselves. It provides you with mental health benefits. It sounds weird, but when you're far away, you feel really detached from this war, and it's even more painful because you can't process it the same way if you're, for example, in Ukraine or even in Europe. It's really painful.
Well, your family are in Ukraine.
Yeah, my family and friends, yeah.
Yeah, and they were in Ukraine while you were doing all of this. How did that feel, knowing that they were there?
First, when everything just started, I was crying a lot. Like, I've been crying non-stop all of the time. I had a lot of difficulty sleeping. First 4 days of invasion, I couldn't sleep at all. And my friend, at the fourth day, when I started hallucinating and fainting, he told me, like, okay, I will watch the news, but you have to sleep. I will watch the news that everything is fine with your family. Because I was scared that I would sleep through the time the bomb came and they will die, and I wouldn't be able to, even say something. I was really scared. It's weird, but I was scared that I will sleep through my family dying. And I was worried a lot, but we value freedom in my family a lot, and everyone has their own will and have their own choice. And my mom, she works for the government. She can't leave. She's she's high government official.
Okay.
And my dad, my brother, my brother's family, potentially they could leave because they're sick. Like most of my family members, they have some kind of disabilities. I'm the only healthy person. But they don't want to leave. And my brother actually started volunteering. I was helping him. The funds that I was providing to support them, I was providing for help. So he was using all of them to provide military guys with the support. So, for example, food. He's cooking wonderful cookies and energy bars, dry meat. He was buying a lot of different clothing and some equipment for them. And then it grew because some people started to learn about what they're doing, and they started to donate as well. So it grew a little bit. They're still small volunteers, but they are doing what they can, and they're supporting a lot of different units. And everything is, even little help matters. So yeah, it was very painful. But then with time, volunteering and activism helped because you're doing something. You're not just sitting. But as the time goes, it's really hard to stay away. And I don't know, I just accept it, that they're there. There is some risk, but they're taking good care of themselves and trying to stay safe. And
so you...
basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're here, you're doing your activism.
Her place, and then next day I had to take a train from Warsaw to Keln, but because I was carrying so many different luggage, I was carrying a lot of help for my military friends. Okay. So like different warmers, because it's really very cold, extremely cold in Ukraine right now. I remember I had to carry more than 75 kilograms of weight. More than 75 kilograms of weight with me, because there was a change of trains at Helm. And that was crazy because I took off at the wrong spot, and there was like a couple of minutes just to go back in there. So I took out the 75 kilograms, and then I had to quickly get them back on the train. That was insane. I weigh like around 65.
I was going to ask.
It was just, I got a lot stronger in the trip. Unfortunately, some ladies who were traveling with me, they were not very nice because they didn't like that I was carrying so much luggage, and I had to tell them like, please shut up, because I'm carrying a lot of help for our soldiers, and if you want to complain to them. Because I was already very pissed because I have been traveling for 3 days without really resting. So I got to Kyiv.
You mean you were awake the entire time?
Most of the time I couldn't really sleep well. Jet lag, other things. It's really intense, to travel and carry so much weight. And in the train it was very hot. It was very hot, so like I couldn't really sleep well there as well. I turned off my Canadian niceness and I just told them if they want to say something, they should say something to our soldiers, because it's basically the help, and that we should be nice to each other because we still have like 17 hours together to go.
Oh my God. So the next 17 hours of that journey, what was that like? It
was weird. First of all, it was uncomfortable physically. It was hot and it was dark most of the time. We were not allowed to, like, the lights were off most of the time because they said just in case, so we don't attract any attention. All the blinds were also down all of the time. And I couldn't really sleep because I wasn't scared, but I felt tension in myself, like inside, that, well, you are in war zone and anything can happen. Before I went to Ukraine, my friend who is a Canadian soldier, he told me like, oh, it's going to be a trip of a lifetime, something you will tell your kids about or grandkids. And then I realized it might be the last trip of my lifetime. And that's when I accepted that, like, it might be dangerous. You know, like, yes, the risk maybe is not that high as at the front lines, but it's present. Something can happen because bombs, they don't really choose, you know.
Did you see evidence of bombs and
Yeah, quite a lot. I heard bombs, I saw bombings, everything. Like the place where I stayed with my mom, bombs would come sometimes. I saw many destruction places near my mom's work, near my place. I remember this morning I heard the siren on my phone because I don't know why I didn't hear it on the street, but maybe, I don't know why. I heard it on the application and I was like, okay, there is a bombings alert. Okay. I went to the postal office because I wasn't yet, you know, used to the fact that I'm in the war zone and you have to be careful. It's better to go to the shelter. Many people neglect, you know, safety measures. Me including, unfortunately. I haven't been to shelter. I will be in the inside the house most of the time.
So this, what you're talking about now, is in Kyiv?
Yeah,
okay.
I've been mostly in Kyiv. I wanted to go to other cities like Kharkiv, Dnipro, Kherson, other places, but my friends who are fighting, they were like, no, you're not going anywhere. We don't let you go anywhere. Just stay there. It's safer there. Just stay there. Yeah, and that morning I was talking with my friend on the phone and we were just discussing, you know, activism things, like some weird stuff about like social media. And I'm hearing bombings. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And my friend is like, Alex, maybe it's time for you to leave somewhere safer. And it's hard to say that what I feel. I just felt like shock. Probably not like shock, but I was like, whoa. Got to be careful.
Or how do you be careful when it's a random thing?
What I did, it is, okay, sorry, it's not funny, but what I did, I would just use the 2 walls rule, usually. So whenever it was dangerous, I would go somewhere where there will be at least 2 walls to protect me. But it doesn't always work. So after I saw what happened in Dnipro, after I saw other things, I realized that, okay, sometimes probably it's better to go to the shelter because it just...
When you said you saw what happened in Dnipro, were you in Dnipro?
No. I saw on the news what happened
on
to
the
Dnipro.
News. And this is Ukrainian news while you're there?
No, the bombings in Dnipro happened recently, a couple of days, like maybe a week ago.
Okay, I understand what
it's
you're saying.
It's a different thing. Yeah, but I saw huge buildings collapsed, so much different destruction, and you just feel emptiness when you look at this. Some shock and emptiness. It just you can really. It feels very surreal. Like it's not real.
Were these favorite places of yours that you were going to?
No, it was somebody's house, and like when you look at this and you think, okay, some people actually died there. Actually, there was some bombings on one street where I used to live. My relatives live there right now. It's so there is district Lukyanivka in Kiev, and on the Artyom Street there was this bombing. Luckily, not a lot of people died because it was a new building, but still the destruction is just insane. And when you look at this and you know some people died there. You feel empty and you feel pain for those people who died. you think about what they experience. You know, I saw these videos where other videos like where people were screaming and recording what was happening during the bombings and during when buildings were collapsing. And that was, I remember those things immediately when I saw that, because I was also, you know, making pictures, making videos for the history for myself and like to post something to tell people. But yeah, it just some, you know, when the atmosphere there, when you think of it, a couple of words come to my mind. It's darkness, and it's not only because the lights are off. It just feels, you know, like absolute darkness. That there's so much evil happening in Ukraine, but somehow people still manage to be happy, to enjoy their life, even despite all of the evil and crazy things that are happening.
So some of these people enjoying their lives and places, where would they be? Like, what places did you go to that you saw that?
So I went to see my friends. I met with my friends for some dinners. So we would have to go to some restaurants. By the way, food is just amazing in Ukraine. That's one of the things I really missed. And it's, you know, you asked me about things that I enjoyed in Ukraine.
Yeah.
It was food and my, like, those sweet, warm moments with my friends and my family members. So yeah, even despite, you know, the absolute darkness, the absolute, you know, it just feels dark and cold. And not just because it's really dark and cold, like in reality physically, but emotionally it feels dark and cold.
You can,
if you know,
can you feel it like reaching into you kind of thing, or?
I think everyone feels it in there, but it doesn't scare you. You just accept it. And yeah, I used to be so scared of darkness before I went to Ukraine, but when I came back to Canada, I wasn't scared of darkness anymore. Like when the lights, I was more scared when the lights were on. It was so weird and surprising for me to see so much light everywhere. And you know, when I was in Kyiv, I had to always watch my water consumption, my power consumption, lights consumption. So when it would be dark, I would turn everything off. I would just use the candles or maybe some flashlights. But when I came back, it was very weird to me that you can suddenly spend how much time you want in the shower, or just you know, not care about whether your power bank is fully charged or not, because I happened to be there when all of the blackouts started to happen. So that was the most, you know, the strongest experience I had during my trip. There were a couple of times, and this time was the worst probably, when there was a huge bombing of Kyiv, huge bombing, and the power went off, connection went off, water, everything went off, and my mom was in the center, and I knew that she was in the region where the bombings were, because it was near her job. And I got a lot of messages from my friends and relatives asking am I alive, if everything is okay, because I was supposed to be there as well, but I changed my plans. And I couldn't respond, and it was so painful for me because they were really worried about me, and nobody could hear me. I felt like I'm voiceless, like I can't, I want to scream and I can't scream, you know. And then I had to spend like 14 hours in cold, without power, without water, without food, without anything, just sitting on the floor, reading a book, watching some videos that I downloaded on my phone. Luckily, I was prepared for my trip, so I had like lots of power banks. I had some water supply. We made some water and food supply with my mom at home, but still it's not the same, like when you can't really use bathroom as much as you want, or just you know, warm up, because when everything is off, heating is also off. It's very cold in Ukraine. A lot of people right now, and back then, when I was in Kyiv, a lot of people got sick, started to get sick, like cold, flu, because temperature doesn't go more than 15 degrees Celsius when the heating is on. But when the heating is off, it's even lower. And actually right now, my friends told me who are fighting, and I saw in the media that some people actually freeze to death in some places on the east, not in Kyiv, but on the east, like...
Do you want to stop?
No, I'm okay. It's just that I need to drink some more water because
Yeah.
I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not really emotional, but it's just a reality to me. I accepted it.
I just saw the, eyes kind of tearing up. And
No. I can't really, I don't think I can really cry anymore. I'm just, it is what it is.
Drink water, and I'll ask just a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
We've been doing this for a long time. So I get a couple of different angles so that it's not just boring looking straight on.
Sure.
Just thought I'd tell you what I'm doing.
So yeah, I had to sit there for like 14 hours and you can't speak to anyone and everything is off and you just feel like you feel so alone and you feel so cold emotionally, meaning like not that you are cold, but you feel that you're kind of freezing, you know what I mean? Meaning like you want some warmth, you miss your family, you miss your friends, you're a bit, it's not like you're scared. I don't think anyone is scared in Ukraine. I feel like people are concerned, people are tense, everyone is like, a bee in the hive, working together for the victory. And people are really determined to do everything they can for the victory. But still, people are intense and stressed. You can feel the stress and the tension in the air. So several words I can describe Kyiv right now, for example, is darkness, cold, and tension. Before war, Kyiv was so warm and peaceful and just chill. It's like, romantic movie city where you would go in summer, eat something nice, delicious, drink a cup of tea or coffee, and
like Paris at all?
It's very different from Paris. It's very different from Paris, but in a way it's similar. I would say Kyiv is more warm. Paris is very chic, but Kyiv is very sincere. It's a place where even now it's very sincere. You can, just be yourself and free. Like, I think Ukraine is the only country, in my experience, where you can be really, really absolutely free. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't bother anyone else. And nobody is gonna say or do anything to you.
So, like physically, I've never been to Kyiv. Is there a river going through it?
Yeah, Dnipro.
And like canal banks and cafes along the river, that kind of thing?
There are some.
Step in and help me out on this.
But I don't remember, like, I haven't been near the river.
Oh,
Or you would meet.
you should come in there and sit.
So what you want?
Oh, just talk about Kyiv. Just talk about what it's like. Two people from Kyiv.
There are 3 people from Kyiv.
Okay, 3 people from Kyiv. You can get in with your sense of humor if you want to.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Sorry.
I was born in Western Ukraine, by the way.
Huh?
Oh,
I was born in Western
Lviv?
Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay.
I get in Kyiv completely after my university.
Okay. I'm just going to change my lens. Just a second. And I'd like you to come in.
Me?
Yeah. That was a good question, and this is what I wanted you here for. So, Larysa, you lived in Kyiv for a while, did you not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
okay.
for a while, for 17 years.
Well, that's a while.
A while it's short.
Yeah,
17
okay.
years,
So
it's a lot.
let me just put the seat
But
where
now
I need
it's
you.
less than in Canada.
Okay. So
Thank you.
yeah, you move just a little bit over, and
Oh. Yeah.
so stand up for a second.
What do you want from me? Tell me.
Well,
If I'm
I
not
just want you to be here. And
I can be there. I am not looking such good like this young lady. Come on.
so, okay,
You're too kind.
you don't want to be on camera?
No, I'm okay. Doesn't matter.
You're okay to be in?
Yeah, but I didn't do makeup. No, not prepared.
That's good. Well, it's just the journey, you understand this journey, you know.
I travel many times from
Okay,
Vienna
yeah.
by train, from the Warsaw to many
Okay.
times. So
So what would be great,
yes.
you've done this journey, you've done the journey, I haven't. I don't know it.
So go.
Yeah, so what I'm going to say is, if you could ask a
You
little-
want me kind of make some question?
Yeah, you
I
may,
have a lot question during your interview. I just don't want to interrupt.
okay.
For example, how like 10 years old girl was on Orange Revolution? Why? Because I'm like parents, I wouldn't bring my child there.
My
Okay.
dad was part of the, how do you call it?
You can use Ukrainian.
I don't even remember these words in Ukrainian. Виборчий штаб, чи якось так, як воно називається? Да. So my dad was part of it, and I wasn't all the time there, but I was.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I wouldn't let my kids go.
Well, it's your
Like
choice.
because there was on the roof shooter and they shooting whoever there. My friends was there too. My friends working in the university in the
Are you talking about the Orange Revolution, or are you talking about the Maidan?
Orange Revolution. Like no, Maidan. Actually, it was those things.
Yeah, you are
They said,
confused.
like it was very interesting when you speak about those luggages and the like some Ukrainian ladies say, "Oh my God, you have so much. We don't have for our stuff," and you say, "Hey, ladies, just shut up. It's for our soul."
Try to go. Let me
know. I It will was help you great.
prep.
So
Happy because I was finally there. I was finally able to see my family and friends, and because you know when you're in Canada, thing that many people don't understand, and even I'm working with the psychologist, with the therapist, and she told me that many people are saying the same thing now, that is not addressed in the psychology yet. This pain that you feel because you're so far away from Ukraine, you feel like you're detached from war. And I really want to talk about this because not a lot of people realize that. You feel like you're on the Mars, you know, and you're looking at Earth and everything is burning and you're trying to do something. You're screaming, you're fighting, but you can't do anything and nobody hears you.
I understand you very well. You say you cry a lot.
And when
I
you-
didn't cry a lot, but I didn't sleep whole first week after war. I just go from one corner to other. What I have to do,
Yeah.
and you know what I did? I pick up phone. I call everybody with who I didn't speak 40 years. To Israel, to
Yeah.
Greece, to Austria, whenever possible, pick up everybody because, like you say, just it's impossible sit quiet and didn't do nothing. You
Yeah.
have to do something.
Yeah.
You have to do. And I understand. And I was in Europe this year, and I see in Greece people sitting, people drinking coffee, or in Austria they have normal lives. They absolutely, and I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I do, and I think how you it's like you won't scream. That in the same moment somebody dying. Maybe in this moment somebody 2 months years old kid becoming raped by aggressor, and you just kind of have normal life how it can be.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty, but I feel
I
angry. because-
have guilty every day when I do something like for myself, pleasure myself, like have coffee, peaceful, or swimming in the sea and the thinking in the same moment somebody died. I just cannot live normal anymore.
Well, I think I had this too for a long time. I felt very guilty, and I was just basically killing myself, working off and doing everything possible and impossible. But then when I talked to my friends who are fighting in the worst places in Ukraine, and I talked about this with them, they said this thing that changed everything for me. They said, Alex, we are fighting there, not for you to not living there. And that changed my perspective. I realized that my friends are literally fighting so I could leave.
That's beautiful phrase. Yes.
He told me that you don't have the right to be unhappy.
So,
cry.
what is other different between time before 24 and the time after, if you travel?
Well, before, when you travel, you're just like a regular, any other traveling, like any tourism.
So most change was inside you, I think.
You're interrupting me. Let me.
I'm sorry.
I can't.
I can't.
Yes,
Sorry about that.
It's very hard to express yourself if you are interrupted all the time. If you want, I can tell you how I felt when I came, and my first impression of when I just took off the train, when I saw my mom, and like it was just blowing my mind, literally. When I just came there, like my first minutes. This time, this trip was very different from any other trip I ever had. Because Kyiv was very different. Kyiv was totally different. And for me as a person, like I haven't been in Ukraine during war, right? It was my first day. And for everyone else, they were already used to it. And it wasn't scary, or it wasn't it was very intense. Like you could feel the tension in the air, and everything dark. Everything is dark, and it was like around, I think, 6 or like, it was after the curfew, so like everyone could travel. But still it was dark. It was before 7 a.m. I think it was probably 6 a.m. because curfew ends at 5 a.m. But they usually turn on the light at around 7 when people start to wake up, or 9, whatever. And it was very, very intense and very dark. And when you were driving and you were seeing, this destruction and just ruined houses, because we passed some with my mom on our way home. I just, remember that movie Pianist?
Yeah.
Remember that scene?
Very much. I really love that movie.
I love that movie. Remember the scene when he's walking and he's like crying?
Yes.
That's how I felt.
It touched me very much, those moments. Exactly those moments.
Yeah, I didn't cry, but I was like, wow.
Stone inside.
Yeah, it was like, because I cried my eyes out already. I can't cry, literally, I can't cry. I don't really feel many things anymore. But I felt like, wow. And I became even more tense inside.
Up to now, I cannot believe it's happening. It's war almost here, and it's not clicking in my mouth.
Yeah.
It's going on. But I didn't visit Ukraine. I was in Europe this summer, and my relatives said, don't, because it's really complicated to go by train. And I was limited with time. But tell me, is it change your kind of something inside you when you get in Ukraine and see? Did you figure out it's reality, this war, it's reality, it's coming?
I've been living in 24th February 2022 for a year now. I didn't let go. I'm still living in that same day. So for me, I can't really say something changed, because I got into that reality that there is war and it's awful, and I've seen a lot of bad stuff that was happening in there, because I was helping a lot of newcomers, so they will tell me stories. Like there was the worst story I heard was probably from this guy who was he was working on the ship, you know.
Yeah.
And when the war started, when the invasion started, he was at the sea, but his family was in Mariupol. And when like everything developed, Russians took away his wife and his small kids into Russia, and it was just and when the huge grown-up man is calling you and crying, and he's asking you to get out my family from Russia. How can I apply like for documents and stuff? It's a happy end story because we helped them and they are
You did.
like we were
Yeah.
able to you know to fill up the documents. Back then it was still possible for them to apply in Russia, but not anymore. I think they now need to go out.
So is he get his wife?
Yeah, I think I don't know whether they're here now,
Mhm.
but I know definitely
They're
that
together.
they're together. At least the last time when we spoke, they were in Europe together, and that they had documents.
That's great. That's
Yeah, I
great
was so
story.
happy. I was crying.
How
from
many
happiness.
people like this you have?
So in our chat group, there are like 10,000 of people. I don't know whether like how many people we helped because we created a website and a lot of instructions, so it will be easier for people to fill up themselves. But personally, I helped like around maybe 100 to 150 people personally, like on the phone and helping them to fill up their documents. With some of them, I was actually in Canada going to apply and translate like for SIN number, for OHIP and these things. With some of them, I became really good friends, and they're just, that's the best part. That's the best part.
I know, I do the similar things.
Yeah. But I can say that going there changed anything in me. One thing, I was really, really happy there. I felt really, it was weird for everyone. Everyone thought that I was super crazy for going there and then for being there and being happy. But I guess
I now I want to go to Ukraine more than ever. More than any place in the world. Yeah, but
just be careful. I mean, if you decide to go, let me know. I will help you prep.
But, you know, I little bit scared inside. Why? I will compare that with, you have beautiful, beautiful woman, like Miss Universe. And you know, her face and her body with scarves because somebody hurt her. And I scared to see that face now, kind of.
We will rebuild everything. Ukraine will be even more beautiful than before. And yes,
Like right now, I just kind of, I cannot imagine how I will feel and how I will go there.
When
See
I-
those buildings. One thing see in media or in internet, and other just touch that one.
it didn't feel scary. It felt more shocking for me.
Shocking.
Like
Even
even
you-
our bravery, strength, and things that we do makes us even more beautiful and our country even more beautiful. So even though there's so much destruction, first of all, our government is doing a lot of things to repair. So many destructions, they are already repaired. Some of them that are not of high priority, but we will get there. I actually felt hopeful when I was there. Really, like I felt freedom, happiness, and hope. The war stops soon, but it won't stop because you have to do something to make it stop. It's still shocking when you see that more like you're just like wow, and there are no thoughts at all. You just see that and you're like, you feel like you're in some action horror movie, and that there is like some Armageddon happening. But don't be like, I understand what you're saying, that
So
you're
break
scared.
that wall inside.
You're scared of seeing what you love so much being hurt,
Yes.
and it hurts you.
Yes,
But
it is.
I was thinking about that as well. But when I actually went there, I realized beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Ukraine is still beautiful, and even with those scars, because you know, the level of bravery, strength, and things that we do makes us even more beautiful, and our country even more beautiful. So even though there's so much destruction, first of all, our government is doing a lot of things to repair. So many destructions, they are already repaired. Some of them that are not of high priority, not, but we will get there. I actually felt hopeful when I was there, really. Like, I felt freedom, happiness, and hope. Because
I should go.
just be careful. And if you decide to go, let me know. I will help you prep. Happy because I was finally there. I was finally able to see my family and friends. And because, you know, when you're in Canada, it's a thing that many people don't understand, and even I'm working with the psychologist, with the therapist, and she told me that many people are saying the same thing now, that is not addressed in the psychology yet. This pain that you feel because you're so far away from Ukraine, you feel like you're detached from war. And I really want to talk about this because not a lot of people realize that. You feel like you're on the Mars, you know, and you're looking at Earth, and everything is burning, and you're trying to do something. You're screaming, you're fighting, but you can't do anything, and nobody hears you.
I understand you very well. You say you cry a lot.
And when
I
you-
didn't cry a lot, but I didn't sleep whole first week after war. I just go from one corner to other. What I have to do.
Yeah.
And you know what I did? I pick up phone. I call everybody with who I didn't speak 40 years. To Israel, to
Yeah.
Greece, to Austria, whenever possible, pick up everybody, because, like you say, just it's impossible sit quiet and didn't do nothing. You
Yeah.
have to do something.
Yeah.
You have to do, and I understand. And I was in Europe this year, and I see in Greece people sit and people drinking coffee, or in Austria they have normal lives. They absolutely, and I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I do, and I think, how you it's like you won't scream. That in the same moment somebody dying. Maybe in this moment somebody 2 months years old kid becoming raped by aggressor, and you just kind of have normal life how it can be.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty, but I feel
I
angry. because-
have guilty every day when I do something like for myself, pleasure myself, like have coffee, peaceful, or swimming in the sea, and in the same moment somebody dying, somebody. I just cannot live normal anymore.
Well, I think I had this too for a long time. I felt very guilty, and I was just basically killing myself, working off, and doing everything possible and impossible. But then when I talked to my friends who are fighting in the worst places in Ukraine, and I talked about this with them, they said this thing that changed everything for me. They said, Alex, we are fighting there, not for you to not living there. And that changed my perspective. I realized that my friends are literally fighting so I could leave. There was a huge bombing of Kyiv, huge bombing, and the power went off, connection went off, water, everything went off, and my mom was in the center, and I knew that she was in the region where the bombings were, because it was near her job. And I got a lot of messages from my friends and relatives asking if am I alive, if everything is okay, because I was supposed to be there as well, but I changed my plans. And I couldn't respond, and it was so painful for me because they were really worried about me, and nobody could hear me. I felt like I'm voiceless, like I can't, I want to scream and I can't scream, you know. And then I had to spend like 14 hours in cold, without power, without water, without food, without anything, just sitting on the floor, reading a book, watching some videos that I downloaded on my phone. Luckily, I was prepared for my trip, so I had like lots of power banks. I had some water supply. We made some water and food supply with my mom at home, but still it's not the same like when you can't really use bathroom as much as you want, or just warm up, because when everything is off, heating is also off. It's very cold in Ukraine. A lot of people right now, and back then, when I was in Kyiv, a lot of people got sick, started to get sick, like cold, flu, because temperature doesn't go more than 15 degrees Celsius when the heating is on, but when the heating is off, it's even lower. And actually, right now, my friends told me who are fighting, and I saw in the media that some people actually freeze to death in some places on the east, not in Kyiv, but on the east, like.
Do you want to stop?
No, I'm okay. It's just
Okay.
that I need to drink some more water because.
Yeah.
I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not really emotional, but it's just a reality to me. I accepted it.
But it's more interesting topic, by the way, because those what happened on Maidan still kind of roots what going on now in many things, and it's very interesting to know opinion of the person who was young and was there actually.
There are some people who support Ukraine and actually do something to help, and there are people who support Putin crazily as brainwashed sheep, and there are people who kind of don't support war but don't do anything, and they're just like, oh, it will go away, like I hope it just stops, I hope the war stops soon, but it won't stop because you have to do something to make it stop. It's just, it's about responsibility. These people, they don't have sense of responsibility for themselves, for their country, so they will just easily run away. Another reason why I don't support giving this immigration special program for Russians, because I know that there was filed petition in Canada to make similar program as exists for Ukrainians for Russians, and I'm strongly against that, because when they run away to other countries, they don't start doing something to support Ukraine and to fight this war. I haven't seen mass protests, and there have been already millions of Russians who left Russia, and it's really funny when you see those Z signs on their cars and they left Russia because they're scared of mobilization. It's it's just hypocrisy.
This generation who now run from the mobilization, they under dictator 20 years. They don't have any idea about democracy or something. That's why it happened. It's not excuse. And like me, don't check that I kind of supporter of Russia. No, I hate so much since the beginning, and the one moment would change. In one of the demonstration in downtown, I saw old man, very intelligent Russian. I'm Russian. Sorry, if you can forgive us. He was crying, and he go to every
just one
demonstration.
Russian out of 144 millions. And I'm against that position of giving some excuses and saying that, they have been under dictatorship for so long time. That would work if that was Soviet Union, when people were brainwashed me. And I felt that not if something wrong will happen to me or something bad will happen to me, somebody will help me. And I felt, despite the bombings, yes, I mean, bombings is pretty scary and it's not an enjoyable experience. But other than that, it felt very safe.
So, okay, a couple of people who know Kyiv. I know you're not from Kyiv. You've told me that already.
No, I lived there 17 years.
You lived there 17 years. So,
Walking, yeah.
what's your favorite? What was your, like, if you had a favorite spot, where would it be? Like streets, cafes, squares, like.
I love downtown in Kyiv. I love Krещатик. I love Lavra. I love everything in Kyiv. I really love Kyiv so much.
I've seen it, and to me it looks like a beautiful city.
It's very beautiful. It's beautiful architecture. I can tell what I miss when I immigrate in Canada. I miss architecture in Kyiv, everything.
It's beautiful.
And I miss my best friends.
Yeah.
And say just one favorite place. I cannot, so many different places.
And
We have amazing botanic garden, we have amazing church. Kyiv in spring, in Kyiv in the autumn, it's very different. They have their own beauty. And to choose, it's difficult to choose one spot.
and you, Alexandra, any?
Yeah, I have a lot of places, a lot of favorite places. So I lived in different districts because my friends and family members live in different districts, so I had the chance to spend a lot of time in different places. But probably my favorite is Lukyanivka because it just, the atmosphere is so different, you know, from yes, Krещатик and the center of the Kyiv is very nice, but it feels more, you know, like so strong, so chic, so beautiful, just like in order. But Lukyanivka, it's the soul. It's more, it has this weird atmosphere, you know, very artistic, a lot of memories, childhood memories with my brothers and sisters. And yeah, also our Arsenalna. Subway station, there are beautiful parks, my favorite places to eat. There are a couple of restaurants where I go all the time when I'm in Kyiv for like 10 years, the same places, and they don't change, and the food doesn't change. And
Which
that's,
one?
so I like on Arsenal a little bit of an advertisement. It's not advertisement, but there's this place called Il Malina on Arsenalna, and that's the best Il Malina, that one, because in other locations it's not that good. But there it's, oh my god, I love carpaccio and the bruschetta sandwiches. Like, oh my god, it's just...
And how, when you went back, how was it? Like
It was beautiful. I loved it. I went there, and every time I would be, because it's located near my mom's work, every time I would be with my mom, I would go there for lunch, or and every time I go to Ukraine, every time I'm in there, I tell them that's the best carpaccio and bruschetta I ever had in my life. And I traveled a lot. I've been to a lot of restaurants and a lot of places. I know my my stuff, and they're so happy to hear that and see me even after all of those years. So,
How is Andreevsky with?
oh, it's beautiful. It's another thing I wanted
It's
to name.
probably one of the best
It's
place.
and
It's street with art.
and this new region, Воздвиженка, near the
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Also, there are some really nice.
It's still walking like before.
People are still trying their best to
to live normal life.
To live normal life and to keep those beautiful and great things we had before, while you embrace them. So, and even now there are even more of that. Like there are more cultural things. There are more like cafes and restaurants. People are really trying to preserve those wonderful things.
What do you think? Can this war was look like glue for Ukrainian? Like put spirit together, nation becoming, like you say,
I think this war united us a lot.
United.
Yes, I
And
think
the change value so many, like now
yes.
those material things go some and the
Yeah, for sure. It changed me a
support
lot.
each other.
It changed me in a little bit, in some way as well, and it changed a lot of people. And in terms of values, in terms of use and conflicts, like people started to care more about each other, got more united. And yes, Ukraine has its own problems, but people know why they're fighting, what they're fighting for, and they want Ukraine to become a better place. They really want it.
in Ukrainian,
It's-
next few things. I don't need to understand it. Just say whatever you want in Ukrainian.
No, but I have one more question, if it's possible. What you thinking? Is this war would be last for battle for freedom of Ukraine? What is go for centuries? Yeah, like to be independent, to clarify those relationships with Russia. For independence. Shevchenko was speaking about that. You know, if you capture, like it's long conversation about history, but probably many people know. Is Ukrainians get out from illusion of the big brother,
The thing is,
Russian language.
we are working on that. We are working hard on that, and I think this war changed people's perspective on those things. But the thing is, why I think so yes, maybe fighting will stop, but this war, I don't think it will ever stop if Russia doesn't change, if Russia doesn't become democratic, if they don't learn their lessons. Because this conflict, it's we can. I don't want to debate. I will just express quickly. You asked me what I think about the war, how long it will. But in my opinion, it's existential war. It's existential enemy because their view on history. They're basically taking our history and saying it's theirs, and that we don't exist, and that our language doesn't exist, and that we are Russians, and etc. So as long as that continues, this war will not stop.
Listen, it's not about them, it's about us. Gulag didn't teach them nothing. History didn't teach him nothing. They put now whole Russia in Gulag. It's about Ukrainian, in Ukrainian mentality change.
It's already changed, and it's changing even more.
Is it we go and still have like speak Russians speaking Ukrainians, or that one better, or it's gone. It's finally going to be independence.
So the thing is, if you look into social, statistical, I don't know, questionnaires, because social workers have been looking into these things a lot, and the perspective of Ukrainians on the language question, cultural question, Russian world, and many other things. Even in Crimea, I saw videos of people saying like, yes, I remember this guy, he was saying, I was one of those who was asking Putin to come and take over Crimea, but it didn't do any good to Crimea, and I want to go back to Ukraine. I'm waiting for Ukrainian armed forces. It is changing. I can't say that Ukraine is independent and that everything has changed, everyone feels the same way. It's impossible because still always there are going to be some people who believe into weird stuff, but the most important thing that it's changed drastically, and a lot of people, like the amount of people who switched to Ukrainian, who are valuing Ukrainian music, who are giving up Russian TV shows, movies, etc., etc. Even foreigners who are learning Ukrainian, and some Russian-speaking Ukrainians that are learning Ukrainian, it grew up drastically. It's changed, but I can't say.
No, it cannot be in one moment. Exactly, yes. But growing.
Yeah, we improved, and we will continue to improve, but we will always have this enemy near us, and we will have to be strong.
Тобто віримо в Україну. Слава Україні.
Героям слава.
Okay, I think that sounds like a wrap.
Go, let me know, I will help you prep. Happy because I was finally there. I was finally able to see my family and friends. And because, you know, when you're in Canada, thing that many people don't understand, and even I'm working with the psychologist, with the therapist, and she told me that many people are saying the same thing now that is not addressed in the psychology yet. This pain that you feel because you're so far away from Ukraine, you feel like you're detached from war. And I really want to talk about this because not a lot of people realize that. You feel like you're on the Mars, you know, and you're looking at Earth, and everything is burning and you're trying to do something, you're screaming, you're fighting, but you can't do anything and nobody hears you.
I understand you very well. You say you cry a lot.
And when
I
you-
didn't cry a lot, but I didn't sleep whole first week afterward. I just go from one corner to other. What I have to do,
Yeah.
and you know what I did? I pick up phone. I call everybody with who I didn't speak 40 years. To Israel, to
Yeah.
Greece, to Austria, whenever possible, pick up every.